So I look like poop today, so I figured this was the perfect day to do a cooking video for you for Vlogtober. So I'm gonna be making my turkey and kale. Oh, I need the kale. Oh no, I have the kale, I need the turkey. I'm gonna be making my turkey and kale soup, which is awesome for fall because it's really hearty. It's really just cozy. It's a cozy soup and it's so easy to make. So the first thing that you need is chicken broth. I get the reduced sodium. I just get the Rayleigh's brand, it doesn't really matter. And I will put all of the exact measurements in the description box below. Or actually no, I would just leave a blog post because I think I've already done this on my blog. So I'll just leave that link down below and then you guys can check that out. You will also need a can of diced tomatoes. I like this one because it has garlic, oregano, and basil, so it's already kind of like slightly flavored, which is quite nice. Pepper, salt, kidney beans. I don't think the recipe that I use actually calls for kidney beans, but I like to add them because Phoenix loves them. This is Italian seasoning. I like to use avocado oil. I usually would add extra basil and extra
I thought you said basil.
Thyme, I don't know, anyway, but I ran out of basil, so I'm just adding extra thyme. You need 1 onion, 4 carrots, 4 celery stalks. I use about 5 garlic thingies because these ones are kind of skinny and pathetic. A big, huge bunch of kale, and then the turkey ground, which is I usually use 1 pound, but I'll just grab it real quick. So we usually just buy a bunch and then put it into like Ziplocs and put it in the freezer, and then this is thawed. So that's all the ingredients that you need. I'm gonna go ahead and show you what the next step would be. First thing that I like to do is peel my carrots, and then I chop them. I basically cut the ends off. I usually will like cut it in half, cut it down lengthwise, and then into little like chunks. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm all done. Okay, so I cut them like that, and then I basically just cut them in like into little, like, I don't know, what is that, 1/2 inch pieces all the way down. That's what they look like when they're all chopped up. So some are bigger, some are smaller, but they're just in like nice little like half coins. So then I put the carrots into the pot so that I always like to put the carrots, onions, and celery all together because I feel like carrots are so hard that they take forever to kind of like soften. So I just do it all at the same time. So I've got that in there. It's not heated yet. I just wait till everything is all done. I have my celery. I've cut it all into little, I don't chop the celery in half. I just cut it into little moons, whatever these are called. And then I'll add that to the pot as well. Okay, so this is when I cry because this onion is evil. So I have 1 onion and I just diced it all up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the pot with the celery and the carrots. Okay, so now that's all in there, and then I just add my avocado oil. I don't measure, I just kind of like, yeah, that looks good. I put it on 2. I kind of like stick it right there, so that's high, so it's over there. Maybe a little bit like that. And then I just give that a good stir and just let that all kind of like, the onions caramelize and the carrots kind of get a little soft. So it usually takes about 7 to 8 minutes. Now that I have my garlic peeled, then I just grate it. And the reason I like to grate it is because I feel like it gets more flavor because it gets really ground up and like juicy. It totally does. So that's what I do. I just grate it and then I put that in. The carrots and celery and onions are cooking right now, and then I just add it all to the mixture. Okay, so I've added the garlic. So I just basically like every couple minutes just give it a good stir, make sure everything is cooking evenly. Oh, my camera's getting all steamed up. Until, like I said, it's soft and the onions are clear. Okay, so this is when, while I'm waiting for that, this is when I do my kale, and basically you just cut down the sides of this part. Is that the stem? My son knows more about flowers than I do at the moment. Is that the stem, babe? Is that the stem? I need to go to the diagram. Is that the stem?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stem, leaf, and then roots are below.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, I'm right.
It's like trying to spell the word the. You forget.
Yeah, sometimes you're like, oh, this is so easy. So anyway, I just cut along each side and then get all the leaves off, and then I give it a rough chop. Not like super tiny, but big enough to where you're not going to choke and die when you eat your soup. Now that my onions are clear and everything's a little bit softer, I'm gonna go ahead and add the ground turkey, and then I'm just gonna let that cook until it's all nice and brown. Now that this is all brown, all the meat is cooked, I'm gonna go ahead and add my canned tomatoes and my beans, but make sure you drain the beans and rinse them first. Added my beans and my tomatoes. This is where you're gonna add your spices and your chicken broth. So I basically just sprinkle it in until I think, yeah, that looks good. So I'll have exact measurements on my post with the link down below, but I just literally sprinkle it in until I think, man, that looks like a lot. That's probably good. Okay, so that's what it looks like before I stir it. So you can see, like, I just sprinkle it so that it's almost covered in seasoning. That's probably a terrible way to do it, but that's how I do it. Just so you know, trying to film and pour in chicken broth is never a good idea to do it at the same time. So I basically just pour it until everything is covered. Usually I end up using this whole thing. Because by the time you add your kale and everything, it's pretty much good. And this is 48 ounces. Okay, so I've poured that in. Then I give it a nice big stir. So you can see, like, it's basically just kind of like covered. And if I feel like, whoa, this is not enough, then I'll just add like another quarter or half of another one of those 48 ones. Just so that you have enough liquid for your soup, so that it's, once everything softens and you add the kale, it's not gonna be just like thick. You want it to be kind of like, you know, brothy. I totally got distracted, guys. Normally I add the kale before I add in the chicken broth. So, dang nabbit, but that's okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and add the kale now. You want to just give it a drizzle of the avocado oil, and then I just kind of massage it into the leaves, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and add that to the pot. Okay, so now I've added my kale. It's all wilted. When you first put it in, it will look like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough liquid. Let the kale wilt first before you add more, and then you can see if you want to add more. I added just another quarter of the chicken broth, and now I'm just gonna let that come to a boil, and then once it's boiling, I'm just gonna let it simmer for like 20 minutes. But honestly, the longer you let it simmer, the better. So I have to go pick up Phoenix, so I'm gonna bring it to a boil, and then Jay is going to put it down to a simmer once it's boiling, and then we'll probably just like let it simmer for, sometimes I usually do it for like 40 minutes to an hour. You just have to keep an eye on it. Obviously, if all your liquid is going, like, you can do it after 20 minutes and you're good. I think it's better after at least 45 minutes. So there is the finished soup. So it sat for about an hour, would you say, baby, on simmer? Yeah. And he put the lid on, what, halfway through?
Yeah.
Okay. So he let it bring to a boil, and then I left, and then he brought it down to simmer and put the lid on. So that's what it looks like, guys. You can see it's just like really brothy, but because it has the kale and the ground turkey and the carrots and celery, it's really, really filling, even though it looks like it's just a brothy soup. But it's so good. You guys have got to try it. Again, I will leave the link down below for all of the measurements. I got mine off of Lexi's Clean Kitchen. She is one of my favorites, but I add beans to mine, which she does not have beans in hers. So that's the only difference. I hope you guys enjoyed the Vlogtober today. It's raining here. It's like horrible weather. So this is the perfect soup to keep you cozy and warm on a really cool fall day. Thumbs up if you like these kind of videos, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.